little cute Easter chick out of scrap yarn. It's a really quick, simple, easy little make. It's great if you're looking for something to stitch onto maybe like a little Easter craft project, a card, or a basket. Or I'm also going to show you an option where we're going to put it on a hanging so you can use it as a decoration. So to make this little guy, what you're going to need is 3 colours of yarn. For the eyes, you can either use like a yarn like we're using for the rest of the project, or what I've actually used for this little guy and would recommend is something a bit thinner. So I've used this kind of black cotton cord, but you can use an embroidery thread, you can use cotton, or like I say, a yarn. You'll just have a chunkier eyes. So it's basically whatever you prefer. I'm going to use a yellow for his body, orange for the beak, and I've got a 3.5mm hook. You can scale this up or down based on your yarn size and how big you want your little chick to be. And then you've got 2 needle sizes, so I'm going to use the bigger one for the beak and the slightly smaller one for the eyes. Okay, so that's that, and let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with our body using our yellow yarn. And we're going to begin in the centre using a magic circle. Now, if you don't like magic circles or you don't want to use one, you can do 3 chain stitches and slip stitch them together to make a little donut. Or I've got a little magic circle tutorial video up here somewhere, and you can stop this video and take a quick look at that. But for now, we're going to do a magic circle. Okay, and into that we are going to single crochet 6. Now that's using US terminology. If you were using UK terminology, that would be a double crochet, but we're going to do 6 of those. So to do that, we're going to go into our circle, catch the yarn, pull it through, so there's 2 loops on our hook. We're then going to catch the yarn again, and we're going to go pull through both loops on the hook, and that is 1 single crochet. So we're going to do that 5 more times. So again, going back into our magic circle, we're going to catch the yarn, pull it through so there's 2 loops on the hook, and then catch the yarn again and pull through both loops on the hook. So that's 2 single crochet. So I'm going to do that 4 more times. Okay, so that's our 6th single crochet. And what I'm going to do now is take the tail of our magic circle and I'm going to pull to tighten it up. Okay, so that is round 1. We're going to move on to round 2 now. And what we're going to do is single crochet 12 by doing 2 stitches in each stitch from the previous row. So we did 6 in the first row, I'm going to do 12 in the second with 2 in each stitch. So we're going to pop our hook into that first stitch, catch the yarn, pull it through so there's 2 loops on the hook, and then we're going to catch the yarn again and pull through both loops on the hook. So that's 1 single crochet. We're going to do that again by going back into that same hole. We're going to catch the yarn and pull it through so there's 2 loops on the hook, and then we're going to catch the yarn and pull through both loops. So that's 2 single crochet in the same hole. We're now going to move on to the next hole and do 2 more. So popping our hook in, catch the yarn, put it through so there's 2 loops on the hook, catch the yarn and pull through both loops on the hook. Same again. Okay, so that is 4 single crochet and we need 12 in total. So we're going to do this all the way around, so 2 stitches in each stitch until we've got 12. So that's 4, 5, 6, moving on to the next one, 7, 8, moving on to the next hole, 9, 10, 11, 12, and that is our second round complete. Okay, So now we're going to move on to our third round, and this one's going to be a little bit different. What we're going to do is single crochet 7 by going single crochet in 1, single crochet in 2, single crochet in 1, single crochet in 2, single crochet in 1, and then we're going to do something a little bit different. So what we're going to do, start off, single crochet into that next stitch, and then into the following one we're going to do 2 single crochet, 2, so that's 3 total, so we're going to do 1 into the next one, 4, and then we're going to do 5 and 6 into the next hole, 5, 6, and then we're going to do 7 into the one after that. And now what we're going to do for this next hole is we're going to do 2 stitches into the same hole, but they're going to be a double crochet and a triple crochet, and that's using US terminology. So to do a US double crochet, what we're going to do is yarn over, wrap the yarn around the hook, and then we're going to pop the hook into our hole, catch the yarn and put it through, so you've got 3 loops on the hook, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over again, pull through the second 2 loops. Okay, and then we're going to move on to our triple crochet. So we're going to yarn over twice. We're going to wrap the yarn around the hook. We're going to pop the hook back into that same hole we did the double crochet in. We're going to catch the yarn, put it through, and we'll have 4 loops on the hook. Okay, so we're going to go yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loops, and then finally yarn over, pull through the third set of loops. Okay, and now we're going to move on to that next stitch, but we're going to do what we did in the previous one, but we're going to do it the other way around. So we're going to do 1 triple and then 1 double. So 1 triple crochet, and then back into that same hole we're going to do our double. There we go, and what that does is that starts to give us this little egg shape that we've got from this little guy. So he's not just round, he's got a bit more of an oval. Okay, so now what we're going to do is what we did at the start of this row by single crocheting 7. So we're going to go back to our single crochets here, and we're going to go into the next hole, single crochet 1, and then into the following one we're going to single crochet 2, and that's 3 stitches. So into our next one we're going to do 1, which will be 4, 2 into the next one, 5, 6, and then into the following one after that we just do 1, and that's 7. Okay, so you can start to see how this little shape is coming together. So what we're going to start doing now is slip stitching around the edge so we can add his little wings. Okay, so to do that, what we're going to do is pop our hook in, and what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch 6. So into our next hole we're going to pop our hook in, then we're going to catch the yarn and put it through, and then we just bring it straight through the loop that's on the hook. Now you don't want these to be too tight, you don't want your little chick to start curling, so be fairly loose with your tension here, because you don't want him to be bent over. So that's 1, we're going to do that again, into the next hole, 2, and we're going to do that until we've got 6 of them. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now we're going to do his first little wing. Okay, so to do that we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to work back on ourselves by doing single crochet. We're going to ignore this first chain on the hook, we're going to work into the second and single crochet, and then single crochet into the next chain after that. And that's our first little wing. So now what we're going to do is slip stitch into the next one along. So this is the one we worked in previously. We're now going to work into the next one. One. And then we're going to slip stitch into the following one. There we go. And now we've started to get to that point where we have our double and triple crochet. So into the next one we're going to do 2 slip stitches. So we pop our hook in, we go 1, pop our hook back into that same stitch, catch the yarn, pull it through, 2, and we're going to do the exact same in the next stitch. So slip stitch in 2 into the next hole, like so, and then we're going to slip stitch 2 more into the next 2 holes. So we're going to do slip stitch into the next one, and the one after that, and then we're going to pop our hook into the next stitch along. So here we are, we're going into that next one, and we're going to do 3 chains again to make his next wing. 1, 2, 3. Oh, hang on, I need to do that. Oh no, I didn't do 3, sorry. 1, 2, 3. There you go, that's 3. And then we're going to single crochet 2 by working back on ourselves and ignoring that first chain on the hook. So we're going to go into that second one along, single crochet 1, and then into the next chain, single crochet 1, and then we're going to work back along the side here, and we're just going to do 7 more slip stitches until we're back down to the bottom. So into the next one we do a slip stitch, 1, and then the same again, the next one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then one last one, there. Okay, and that is the body of our tiny little chick. So now what we can do is pull out a loop here that was on our hook, and we can snip a tail, and then to tie off what we can do is bring that tail through the loop we just made, and that is our tiny little chick body. So what we can do now is we can start to tie in these ends. So to do that we're going to need our chunkier needle, and we're going to need to flip him over to the back. Once you've done that, we can start by sewing in our tails. So all we need to do is find some of these little loops in the back of the stitches and thread our needle through. Don't need to do loads. It's not like you're going to wear him. He's not going to get put in the wash or anything, so he should hold quite well. But once you've done that, you can snip them off, and then same again on that bottom one. What we're actually going to do is pop our needle through the next stitch to bring it down, like so. And we're going to flip it over and just feed the needle through so that it holds. and then we snip that there. Okay, so now our little guy is ready for his beak. Okay, so for the beak we're going to need our orange yarn, and then we're also going to use our chunkier needle. Now I'm using my chunky needle because I'm using a chunky yarn, but if you wanted to use an embroidery thread or something for something like this, you're going to want to use a smaller one. And what we're going to want to do is just pull off a length of this. You want it to be workable, so maybe 20 centimetres long, 15-20 centimetres. You don't need much of it, but you don't want to be struggling to hold it. Like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is just make a knot in the end. There we go, that should hold. We thread that onto our needle. Like so. Okay, now so if we look at our chick here, we can see where the beak is roughly positioned. It's sort of just above this centre donut that we've got going on, and then it branches out towards our double crochets. Now you can make this as big or as small as you want, but we're going to kind of aim for something roughly this size. Don't think it matters too much if it's different. It's nice they've all got their own personality or something, I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up in the centre above that donut. You just kind of have to feel your way through and kind of make a hole with your needle where possible. Okay, so we've done that, and then we're now going to go up at a diagonal towards that double crochet stitch. There we go. Now you don't want to pull too tight for this, because if you do, it's going to start to drag through the yarn and it's kind of slightly disappear, so you don't want to do that too much. Okay, and now we're going to come up in the same position, just a little bit further along on the other side. There we go. And then we're going to come back down through that middle point. You can kind of see a triangle starting to form there. Okay, now we're going to go along the top. So we're going to come up roughly in that first point on the left side, and then go across to the right side. Like so. And we're just going to repeat that ever so slightly, so we're going to come up over here, and you basically just want to start filling in your beak, so going down to the bottom. And then coming up on the right side, just kind of making a hole wherever you can, to be honest. There we go. Like that, and then we go back down to the bottom again. And there we have our little teeny tiny triangle beak. So to tie this off, what we're going to do is flip round to the back. We're going to pop our needle in and push it through the back of the beak. And then we're going to make a knot. Like so. And again, just to make sure it holds. There we go. And then we just push that through there. And we can snip that off. Now I know the back looks like a bit of a mess, but I figured if we're stitching this onto a basket or a card or something, it won't matter too much because you're not going to see it. But if that is something that bothers you, what you can do is just make this body again. You can skip out the wings if you want to skip that step, and then you would just stitch it onto the back, so that would hide the stitching and you've kind of got two of them sandwiched together, but we're not going to do that. What we're going to do now is move on to the eyes. Okay, so my eyes, I'm going to use this black thread here. So I'm going to pull it out. Again, same with the beak. You want it to be a decent length because you don't want to be sort of struggling with it. I'm gonna snip. So again, I've done probably about 25 centimetres worth, which may be a little bit too much, but we'll see. Okay, so we're going to do a knot, which is going to be at the back. We're going to take our smaller needle this time, so the one that's a little less chunky. We're going to pop our thread in, like so. Okay, so this is probably the most complicated bit of the whole thing. Okay, so we're going to do an embroidery stitch, which is called a French knot. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it, but it might just take you a couple of goes to practice, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up with our needle through that double crochet stitch on the left. So we've got our double, our triple, triple, double. So we're going to come up through the one on the left, like so. Okay, now, and this will probably be a little bit tricky for me to film, but what we're going to do is wrap the yarn around the hook, sorry, not the hook, the needle twice, and then we're going to go back down into our check, like so, and that makes one little eye. What that does is essentially create like a tiny little knot. And then we're going to do the other side. So we're going to come up through the double crochet stitch on the other side this time in similar height. Again, I wouldn't worry too much if they're wonky. I think it just adds character. So we're going to come up, and then I'll try and show you that again. So we're going to wrap the yarn around the needle twice. And then we're going to go back down into that double crochet stitch. Yeah, to make the second eye. Okay, pretty simple once you get the hang of it. And then we're going to flip them over and just tie that off. Again, I know the back looks like a mess, but nobody's going to see it. We're just going to make a few little knots in that to stop them from falling off. Okay. Now we can snip that. And we can flip over from this side, which looks rather demented, back to our face. There we go, and that is pretty much it for our super easy little Easter chick. Now you can either leave it how I've done it here, where it's just a cute little guy who you know, you can stick or stitch onto whatever you want, or you can turn him into a little hanging thing, a little hanging decoration. To do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take our yellow yarn, we're just going to take a length, so maybe about 10 centimetres worth. We're just going to snip that off, and we're going to take our check. What we're going to do is we're going to flip him over again back to our demented side that no one wants to see. We're going to pop our hook through that stitch in the top, so like so, and then with this folded in half, we're going to just loop it over the hook and pull it through those holes, those stitches, but not all the way. You're going to leave it like this, because we're then going to pull the tails through the loop, like so, and that gives us this little bit up here. So all we need to do is make a little knot in the top of those tails that we just created. Make sure it's nice and tight, and then you just snip those ends off so it's somewhat neat and tidy, and there you've got it. got your little hanging loop. So that's pretty much it. I really hope you enjoyed this one. It's a super simple, easy little Easter make if you're looking for something to do over the long weekend. I hope you have a really lovely Easter, and thank you so much for watching.